Hello,
Welcome,
everyone. Welcome.
welcome in. We're excited to get started. This is a popularly requested topic to get into, so we'll dive in a minute here.
Yeah, today we're going to be covering all about our retinol alternatives. So, answering any questions you have, going over a couple of products that contain this bioactive A complex, possibly talking about why we should avoid retinol. What would we love to hear from them? I want to see our participants here. If you want to go on video, you're more than welcome to. We'd love to see your face. You don't have to. And if you want to share in the chat why you're joining, what do you want to learn today? What are you hoping to get out of this?
A
Um,
great one.
let
Yeah.
us know. Yeah. Let me open up our chat here.
Yeah. Eager to learn. Awesome. Mm. Mm-hmm. Minimize aging. Learn how to minimize aging. You're in the right spot.
Hmm. All right. We still have some people joining. We'll wait another minute or so. Yeah, retinol is a very, I don't want to say controversial, but kind of controversial. It's like a very big it item and also avoided item. So we're happy to dive into why we personally don't use it and why we use an alternative in our products instead. Okay, we're just reading the comments here. Okay. I love this. I feel like this is going to be really helpful. We're getting a lot of comments of how people have been encouraged to use retinol or suggested by their dermatologist. Um, so this is great.
Yeah, this is good. This is
Yeah.
good. Well, let's dive in. Let's talk about why we even launched a retinol alternative. Um, the and I'll start.
Okay.
The easy answer is for years and years, we had customers who would write in and ask. They were asking for one, they were asking for a retinol variation. For a long time, we didn't have one. And so we would, kind of talk about why we don't recommend retinol. But, here are some other options kind of a thing. So that was where we were kind of starting when we were wanting to move in this direction. Now, we didn't want to go with a traditional retinol, tretinoin, retinol, vitamin A derivative, that retinols are for kind of a myriad of reasons. And I'll speak to the skin side of it. And then, Rachel, if you want to dive into a broader perspective with retinol in the skin, what retinol is it's an exfoliant, and you have access to it in different percentages, whether you're getting this. I love Marie as a fox. Thank you, Marie, for joining. You can get it in like a higher percentage as a prescription, and you can get lower percentages over the counter. Either way, what it is doing is it's exfoliating the skin. The way that the retinol works is it very quickly and kind of intensely will break down the skin in order to kind of stimulate this skin cell turnover. So things moving along a little bit more quickly. So you get the desired effect, you get a smoother look. You sometimes are seeing like softer lines. This can be prescribed for breakouts or acne. That's really common. But what happens long term is it thins the skin and it weakens the skin. And so it's not really working with the body, it's kind of working against the body, and can really set you up for deeper creasing, deeper dehydration, like dry skin and long-term dry skin is really common with retinol or retinol variations. Um, so that's why we kind of are looking towards this for skin. It's not actually supporting the skin. It's not really working with the body. It's kind of breaking it down and weakening it over time. Um, yeah, and then Rach, if you want to speak to other reasons why we didn't want a retinol.
Sure, yeah. And I had known about the skin effects and how it's not ideal for your skin. I used it in my 20s, um, very briefly because I like being in the sun, and I know you're not supposed to use it when you're in the sun, so I didn't use it long term. But I stopped, and I knew it was just mainly for skin and potentially health effects. And that was that. And then fast forward a little bit, we wanted to launch a product that either was retinol or resembled retinol. And I was researching and I was like, okay, we don't want retinol. And then I became pregnant and then like really diving into it and reading about how it's just really bad for your endocrine system. It can cause well-known problems with birth defects. And, chatting with the science team at Made Safe around just like how it could be safe, there's no possible way. There's no possible way it could ever be considered a made safe verified ingredient because of all of the adverse reactions that it could cause. So, liver toxicity, little things like nausea or diarrhea, larger things like your endocrine, your hormone disruption, possible birth defects, things mainly it will mimic your hormones. So it's causing a lot of problems there. And so I was immediately just like, oh my goodness, okay, this is never happening. And what could we use as an alternative? And that kind of pushed me into the rabbit hole of looking at bakuchiol, which at the time there was nothing proven safe. It was still one of those ingredients that were like, no, this is too new. And now there are a few that are safe, but again, it's on the processing side and it needs to be proven safe based on a couple of parameters there. So that was kind of the journey here. And then this led me into finding this algae, which is a green algae that kind of mimics those effects of retinol. So the resurfacing, the softening, the really refining of your skin, but it doesn't have the harsh side effects with your body. And it also doesn't have the harsh side effects with your skin. So it's not going to be thinning your skin. It's not making it photosensitized. We do recommend still using sunscreen because it is resurfacing, but it's not doing the same damage that retinol is doing. So that was kind of the journey on how we got to where we are and launching our first product with retinol, with the retinol alternative, the Revitalize and the concentrated boosting elixirs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm curious if there are any other questions maybe about why we didn't go with a retinol before we talk about our classics, what we offer here.
Hmm.
I'll just see if there's anything in the chat. Carla, I do want to get to your question. Carla's asked about sun exposure. I'm going to talk about the products first, and then we'll talk about what that looks like with exposing yourself to the sun.
And also, as questions come up, if we're talking, just plug them in, and we are going to have space at the end where we're going to dive into a bunch of questions.
Okay, well, I'm going to keep moving along since I don't see anything new coming in just yet. But Rachel mentioned a couple things. The first thing she mentioned is made safe, and so I want to kind of call attention to made safe and what made safe is. Made safe is a third party that we work with that tests our ingredients, tests our products. They are verifying that we are certified made safe, which means that we're void of upwards of 8,000 toxins. And so they go through a whole process. We've been excited to have their certification because we've always known we're clean, but now we've got a third party that's actually verifying this. So when Rachel's talking about our ingredient, the active ingredient in these products here being made safe, that's what she's referring to. And bakuchiol and of course retinol, these are not made safe certified at this point. Although Rachel is, are there bakuchiol
There are
options?
some bakuchiol, yeah. So you
Yeah.
can find one. There's a lot of paperwork involved that you need to determine the processing and certain methodologies there, but there are some that could be considered safe.
Mm, hmm. Cool. So that if you see that out there, do a little bit of research just to make sure you're getting a safe one if you are doing one. But when we launched this initially, we launched the retinol alternative as part of our set, our concentrated boosting elixir set. And if you've ever been on a call with us, you've seen us talk about this a lot. This set is really clutch in kind of customizing your routine. But one of these in here is called Revitalize. And this is utilizing our Bioactive A, which is that algae derivative, this retinol alternative, in a very concentrated form that you're able to kind of include in your serum. You can include it in your oil. You could include it in your activated night cream if that's something that you want to try out, to give it that retinol effect without using an actual retinol. Now, this one that comes in the set of three is very concentrated. And so when we're using this one, we are mixing it into something else. I always call that out because sometimes people aren't sure or, they feel like more is better, maybe closer is better, but it is pretty intense. And so if you're putting this directly on the skin, it's a little uncomfortable. So mixing it into something else, anywhere from 1 to 3 drops, and using this in the evening only. So we are wanting this to be used overnight. It works great as part of a broader routine to really kind of tailor this to specific signs of aging. If you've got dark spots, breakouts is another one this can be a support for. Really anywhere where you might consider using a retinol or, formerly someone has said, hey, try a retinol for this. This is probably where I would think to incorporate the Revitalize or the other product option
I'm gonna,
that,
she's talking about the
yeah.
Revitalize, which is a part of the concentrated boosting elixir.
Hmm.
Grace, if you have a second, if you can plug that in the chat, that would be great, the link to that one. Go ahead, Kate.
Yeah. And just to be extra clear, this does come as part of the set. So, and we're always listening to feedback. If this is a very popular item, we could eventually launch it as a standalone. But right now, to have the concentrated booster, you are going to invest in the set of three, which also comes with a hydrate and comes with a brighten. So they all work beautifully together. But this one, it is part of the set of concentrated boosting elixirs. Where was I going? I think I was going to talk about the other one that we have, which is the activated night serum, which is a hugely popular product.
Let's
Um,
uh let's give a giveaway really quick. We're gonna send
hmm,
out an invite to get more of our customers aware of this event, and I want to do a giveaway before we do that,
okay.
just for the ones who came on early. So we appreciate you.
Hmm, hmm.
Um, let's go ahead and you want to pick a question? Yeah,
Yeah, I want to hear if you've used a retinol and what your experience was with it.
yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and let's pick three winners of the concentrated boosting elixir, just so three people can try it.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Oh, so interested by the amount of people who've never used a retinol.
Yeah, that is interesting. It's great.
My background is aesthetics, and so everyone that I was working with either used it or was recommending it. Tons of our customers used it. Definitely a different
Oh,
different world back then, but
a lot of people have not used it. Yeah, I remember I had a friend, this was in my mid 20s, who She is Retin A, I think, or some sort of retinol. And we're, 20s, so like our skin it was
Yeah.
juicy. And hers, I watched it over the course of several years just thin out, and it was gorgeous. Like she had very like comparatively, like I had breakouts, I was in my 20s and she had no breakouts, it was flawless. But over time I slowly started to see it thinning. And I was
Mhm.
like, oh, that's interesting. Like, so over time, it could make you age more because it's thinning out your skin, which I thought was just so fascinating that there's
Yeah.
anti-aging thing on the market that's kind of doing the reverse
Yeah.
over a period of time.
Gotcha. Okay. So loving a lot of these comments here.
Yeah, a lot of people, so it's suggested for acne, which is why I used it when I was younger. Um, and then some people for rosacea or other problem skin, which is so fascinating that when we have a problem, we put this chemical on it, which I want to smack myself sometimes, but okay, cool. A lot of good answers. Grace, how are you doing? You have a few winners?
I do, which is exciting because I am starting to see people slowly start to trickle in. So I'm like, oh, okay, this is a good
Get them.
time. So our three winners are Marisa McAdams, Teresa McLaurin, and Colleen. So yay to you winners. I'm going to put a link in the chat for a form to fill out just with some basic name, your name, and your email, just so I can contact you right after the call to get that sent over to you ASAP. So keep an eye out for that. And yay, I'm so excited for you to try the Concentrate Boosting Elixirs.
Yay, congratulations. That's a good one. These three
Yeah.
products, I mean, we can talk about the others at some point, but the three of them combined are just so good. They're
Hmm.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite offerings that we have, the concentrated boosting elixirs.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, you want to dive into the night serum?
Mm-hmm. So the other product option that we offer is our activated night serum. And this one, a really common question I get is like, if I have the concentrated boosting elixirs, do I need this as well? How are they different? This is a serum. And so this is a kind of well-rounded, intentionally formulated product to work as a serum that is utilizing the Bioactive A. The Bioactive A is our retinol alternative. It's not as concentrated by design as the Revitalize, as that booster. You can boost this, and that's definitely an option, but this is a facial serum. So when you're using this is going to go kind of in your serum position. You're going to cleanse your skin, you're going to mist your skin, you're going to do, one pump, two pumps. This is a really creamy one. I like to kind of show off the formula of this one on my hand here. A lot of our other serums, when I'll pump them, they'll kind of run and they have a nice viscosity, but I like to show off kind of the full creamy volume of the activated night serum, which speaks to how perfectly balanced this is. We utilize that bioactive A, which is gently resurfacing the skin. And then we're also providing some very intentional nourishment. We've got hyaluronic acid, we've got tremella mushroom in that one. We've also got this beautiful bevy of anti-agers as part of the activated night serum. And so this is kind of it's like you get the retinol alternative and then you get this broad spectrum of addressing signs of aging happening all in one. So you mist your skin, you apply your serum, and then you still will apply your oil or your cream or whatever variation of combining your cream and your oil you're working with right now. And then go to bed. We do want this only worn at night, with both the Revitalize and this one, the Bioactive A. We just don't want you to be exposing your skin to the sun when you're already kind of working on resurfacing it. And so just being very careful about protecting the sun. I'll come back to your question here very quickly, about the sun in a moment, but wearing this only at night. It is designed to be worn every single night, but I do work with customers every once in a while whose skin is maybe on the sensitive side or they're on the really, really dry side. And so we might integrate that one a little bit more slowly or maybe even a little bit differently long term, doing every other night, or you could do a couple nights on, a couple nights off. Whatever variation feels good. If you are somebody who's really dry or sensitive, I kind of recommend exploring it. Start with it one night, wait a night. If you feel okay, go another night, and then kind of do, alternate it to build up to what feels perfect for your skin. Um, but generally speaking, every night is the purpose, is the intent with this one. Rach, anything you'd add about the night serum?
Yeah, so you touched on the anti-aging and just like the nourishing ingredients that are in here, like black cumin seed, tamanu, there's St. John's wort extract in this one, which we haven't had in our products before. We also used an herb infusion that was really targeting calming and soothing any sort of problem skin. So a lot of you talked about some of the problem things that you had that maybe your dermatologist suggested for you to go on retinol in the first place. The base of this product, the herb infusion, is really helpful for, just soothing some problematic skin. I won't say any claims that the FDA would get upset about, but yeah, this formula overall, aside from the bioactive A complex, the featured ingredient, is really, really stellar. Yeah.
Yeah. Feel like every time I'm in the position of being like, okay, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't want the FDA on me, I'm always like, Google this ingredient and
Mhm.
look at some of the things that come up for it.
Yeah, there's a lot
Check
of
it out.
intention with all of our formulas. I'll say this, there's not, we don't just, I don't know, and I do a lot of the work with formulation. And so I'm never just like, oh, just throw these in there. There's like a lot of research, like, okay, well, arnica, that's great, and horsetail, and olive leaf, and comfrey, and certain ingredients that are really good for one thing and some for another, and they're all thoughtfully put together. So if you look through our ingredient list and you're like, oh, I don't know what that is, I don't know what this is, just look it up because most likely we can't say all of the magic that it does. So I would do your own research, which is always suggested.
Yeah, very cool. Okay, I finally want to answer the sun question.
Okay.
I don't remember the literal verbiage of it, but it was something like, how do you integrate this with sun exposure? Because, I think I might assume, appropriately or not, that with us kind of being in this more holistic way of approaching life, many of us are wanting to expose ourselves to the sun purposefully.
Yeah.
And so I'll tell you how I do it, and let you can kind of integrate that and see if that feels like something that feels good for you. So I don't use the activated night serum or the revitalize every single night. I'm a pretty every other night, maybe a couple nights on, couple nights off girl. I have drier skin that gets kind of dry and sensitive, especially in the winter. So for me, I alternate. When I am wearing this, I am pretty intentional to protect my face. I wear our Sun Love. I'm wearing a hat when I'm exposing myself to the sun, which is usually kind of like mid-morning. I'm letting my arms, maybe my chest or my torso, kind of be what is receiving that sun and therefore kind of synthesizing vitamin D. The nights that I'm not using this, so if I've used it 2 nights on, maybe on the fourth night or fourth morning, I give it a buffer day in between. I do let my face receive sunlight. I intentionally am doing this in the earlier part of the day. So this is either like first thing in the morning or, maybe like 10 a.m. before noon. So before the sun where I'm at kind of hits its peak and is at its most intense. And then I am making sure to be very careful to protect my skin, even on the days that I'm not using the activated night serum. So I am still exposing it. I am doing a shorter amount, generally speaking. I am pretty fair. So I stick between 15, 20 minutes. 30 minutes is on the high end for a skin type like mine. But if you're a little bit more olive, a little bit more tan, you could probably be out there a little bit longer. And so this is kind of what I keep in mind is like, I didn't use the retinol alternative the night before. I'm hitting it in the morning before sun is at its peak. And I am only directly exposing my facial skin for about 15 to 30 minutes to the sun. And this works for me. And so there are definitely variations with how you can approach this.
Mhm.
What happens when you are doing really any resurfacing, whether it's the Kaolin microexfoliant, whether it's the resurfacing facial exfoliant, and then going out and immediately exposing your skin to very direct and intense sunlight, is you can just kind of be exacerbating some of the things that you're working on fading, pigmentation, deeper creasing or fine lines. A good rule of thumb generally is to protect the skin, but especially when you've been exfoliating it in some way. So that's how I do it. Rachel, I don't know if you've got a rhyme or reason for your sun exposure.
Yeah, I do it a little bit differently, but also avoiding when I'm using it. I use it probably every night in the winter, and then the fall and the spring, probably, most nights, maybe I'll take 2 to 3 nights as a break, and I might alternate. And then the summertime, maybe I'll use it 1 or 2 nights, and then I won't use it for 5 nights. And just the nights that I am using it, the next day I'll completely avoid. I'm not the best with wearing sunscreen, I'm going to admit. I will if I'm going to the river or if I know I'm going to be out all day, I'll bring it with me. I have one in my car, which I don't know if I actually suggest because it could get very hot. I, but yeah, I will use it if I'm going to be out for a very long period of time. But if I'm just going out, chasing my daughter outside, and then maybe just starting to do some garden work, I don't think about it. I may not even wash my face. I might put the pearl mask on. The other day I was in the garden with the pearl mask on in the sun for like 5 hours. And that was great. So yeah, but I haven't used the Revitalize or the Activated Night Serum probably in about 2 weeks, because I just took a little break and I was using the Resurfacing Facial Exfoliant and the Radiant C. So I was resurfacing my skin that way. So yeah, I would say just be mindful of how your skin feels. And if you are using it constantly, if you are doing some treatments and really wanting to target your skin with the Activated Night Serum or the Revitalize, just be mindful that the days following you're avoiding sun or putting something on your skin to protect it.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
We have a lot of questions, so I'm going to dive in and maybe ask you a couple. So
Yeah.
right now we're talking about, if you're just joining, we've had quite a few people join over the past 10 minutes. We're talking about retinol alternatives, why we personally don't use retinol as Kate and Rachel, and then also as Annmarie Skincare, how we decided not to use retinol as a company, and how we use a green algae that's put into our products, into 2 products, the Revitalize, which is a part of the concentrated boosting elixir. Is that? Yep. And then also the activated night serum has the Bioactive A complex as well. And so we're talking about those 2 products. The recording will be available at some point. Um, yeah, we'll start with that and then let me dive into a couple. What are some of the side effects to watch for if using the activated night serum if too often or too much sun? When we first launched it, where we were testing, I was testing it. I used it and didn't put sunscreen because I wanted to see what would happen. I wanted to, test it out. And so I went in the sun the next day, and my skin was just a little pink. Like that was kind of it. It didn't feel great. It doesn't, it's hard to explain because you don't feel sunburnt, but your skin is very resurfaced because you're using this product that is meant to do its job and resurface your skin. And then you're going in the sun and you're exposing it. So it just feels a little pink. It feels tight. It doesn't feel ideal. It doesn't feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So that is that piece. Um, Kate, did you want to add anything to that one?
I feel like you covered it. Yeah,
Okay.
that feels good. I'm just scrolling through to see what questions I can get into here too.
Okay, great. And then one thing we forgot to totally mention is, Grace, do you want to go ahead and talk about the discount that we're going to offer?
Oh no, we got
Yeah.
so far.
So we actually are giving you guys early access to our Earth Day sale. So we're doing 20% off site wide, and I will put the code in the chat, but the code is ASC early access, but this is only live until about 12:30ish today. So you have about 2 hours to shop. But we wanted to give everyone on this call just the perfect early access to our Earth Day sale. So let me put that in the chat now.
Thanks, Grace. And that's Pacific time for anybody curious there.
Glad you remembered that. I was just on yep, talking about retinol alternative.
Okay, someone was asking, are they good to use all year round? I hope we answer that. You totally can. You can use this all the time. Just be mindful to wear sun protection. Someone also asked about Revitalize, when to use it. That's a nighttime. Both of these are nighttime products. Again, using sunscreen the next day. Are these products, saying, is this product more for if you have skin issues or also preventative? I'm going to say both. I think it could
Yeah.
be preventative, definitely can be preventative, and if you have things going on. Do you want to touch more on that, Kate?
Yeah, so the Bioactive A is going to be helpful on either end of the spectrum there. If you are coming at this and you're kind of more in a preventative position, I would likely prioritize the serum,
Yeah,
because it's got so many anti-agers in here outside of just the Bioactive A. And so we're working to maintain the resiliency of the skin, kind of the full nourished look to the skin with this product. So this is going to be helpful if that's where you're coming from. If you're just curious, but you are working on signs of aging, they're both going to be helpful for that. Not that the Bioactive A in the Revitalize isn't helpful, but the serum has a lot of other ingredients in it that the Revitalize does not. So, yeah.
cool. Okay, two questions, and then I'm going to ask you one specific one. So, someone's asking, does the Bioactive A stand for vitamin A, like retinol, or is it something else? So, the name was, developed to kind of say Bioactive A as an algae, but also play on words like vitamin A. It doesn't have vitamin A in it. So do what you will with that. And then also the question of anti-aging. So let me find it here. I saw you recently came out with the restorative facial cream. What's better for an anti-aging routine? The activated night serum or the restorative facial cream? What are the differences? And then when we're done with that, we're going to dive into sensitive or reactive skin with these products. Kate, do you want to touch on the cream?
Yeah. So this kind of question is always interesting to answer because these are very different products. This is the activated night serum. This is the one that we've been talking about. This is the restorative facial cream. So kind of from top to bottom, these are formulated differently. They're working with the skin in different ways. We've talked a lot about the night serum. The restorative facial cream, of course, as the name suggests, has like a creamy texture. This is being utilized to moisturize the skin, but the ingredient composition of this one is also very directly addressing signs of aging. We've got the propolis, we've got the honeycomb, oat kernel, the apple-derived exosomes in this one. This very broad scope of ingredients that are working to kind of maintain a very lifted, plumped look to skin. It's working in a different way. Because this is a cream, this is being utilized to moisturize the skin. So this is kind of working up, kind of closer up to the surface, the visible layers of the skin. This is great for moisture retention. That oat kernel in here is great for moisture retention. The activated night serum, again, this is a serum. Excuse me. So this is in that serum position. These are amazing together. So if you're wanting a very powerhouse, doing the activated night serum and the restorative facial cream over the top in the evening is a brilliant combo. But otherwise, they're very just distinct products. They're working in different ways, doing different things, kind of different purposes. Anything you might add to this?
Yeah, the one thing is our face cream, yes, it's a moisturizer, but it also has a lot of aqueous benefits to it. So it has an aloe mushroom blend, it has hyaluronic acid, it has our serum blend, which is in most of our serums, which is a very hydrating combination of ingredients. It has, I think it was maybe 30 to 40% of the aqueous, so the helichrysum hydrosol, the aloe infusion with the mushrooms, the oat kernel extract, a lot of ingredients to add that hydration, and then the rest is to add the moisturization. So it's different from a serum in the sense that it has butters and oil in there, and then it's different from oils and moisturization in the sense that it has the serum. So it's kind of the perfect product. And I was using it this morning and I was thinking about it. Like if you had to choose one product, I was reading an article around simplicity. And if you had to choose one product and just one, I would say this is the one. If
Mhm.
you had the option to incorporate things into it and you weren't really sure, I would say the concentrated boost and elixirs because those you could use the hydrate and the brighten in the morning. And we intentionally left out some of those activated ingredients that you don't want to use at other times. So, for example, we didn't put the Revitalize in it because then you wouldn't be able to use it during the day. We
Mhm.
didn't put the vitamin C in it because then you may not want to combine it with the Revitalize. You want to use those separate. So it is intentionally created that way with ceramides, and as Kate mentioned, the upcycled apple exosomes, which is very high in peptides and different stem cells from lingonberry. So it has a lot of these activated ingredients that you can blend with the vitamin C or with the Revitalize or with the Hydrate. Um, so yeah, there's that. I didn't want this call to turn into the face cream, but since we're talking about it, there. And yes, you can use that under the eyes. You can use it everywhere.
Mhm. Real quick before we get into the sensitive skin, someone had also asked me about the activated night serum, if this can be applied under the eyes. I think the standard applies to this serum as it does to all of the other serums. You don't really need to move above the orbital bone here with that, with all of them, but specifically with that one. So I don't think I would bring this close up to the eye. If you're sticking right along the top of the cheek with that orbital bone, you should be good to go.
Yeah. And before we dive into the sensitive products, one person is asking, and just to clarify, the restorative facial cream is day and night. So it's not just evening. You can use it morning and night. We don't have samples of it. Very similarly to our eye cream, this is a cream product that will oxidize. So I had tested our eye cream to sample it and see what would happen. And I put it in certain samples, certain sizes, certain time frames. And over the course of a month, it starts to oxidize because there's so much air in it. So we can't sample this product because the Myron glass bottle that we house it in doesn't have any air getting in it, which is how we can sell it and it doesn't oxidize. So unfortunately, we don't have samples of it, but we do have a very gracious return policy. So if you try it and you don't love it, you can just write in and we'll help you out there. Okay, sensitivities.
Sensitivities. Was there a specific question or we just want to talk
Yeah,
about?
so someone's saying, can you use the Revitalize or the Activated Night Serum if you have sensitive skin,
Mhm.
reactive skin? What are your thoughts there? There were a couple of questions around this, so I'll find if there's any more
Yeah.
specifics there.
So usually if I'm working with someone who has really sensitive skin or they are very prone to being very sensitive, uncomfortable, reactive, I would reach for the boosting elixirs over the night serum. So the set of three. And the reason is because you can very, very like closely tailor this to what your skin can handle. So for somebody who is very, very sensitive, let's say we've already got them on a routine. They're using the aloe herb cleanser, the botanical hydration mist. In the evening, they're using the hemp serum. During the day, maybe they're using the probiotic serum. In the evening, we can take the Revitalize and start with a very small amount. So start with just a single drop. and dilute it in that serum. You're diluting it anyway, but you're starting very slow and apply it to the skin. This is a really, really great way to move very slowly and to get this to work with your skin type. And so, depending on how sensitive you are, you might do maybe a pump and a half or 2 pumps of your serum. Definitely lean heavier on the serum than the booster, but start with a very small amount of the Revitalize. And sometimes what happens is it's pretty comfortable. They use it for a month. They start to increase that. They might get up to 2 drops. They maybe get up to 3. Sometimes we just stick at that single drop, and that is what's perfect for their skin. Usually when we're starting it, we're also going to only start with 1 day a week. And so mixing it into your serum, 1 drop in the serum, applying that, and then not coming back to it at least for 5 days, if not the full 7. So you definitely can integrate this, but we do want to make sure that we're listening to your skin kind of as we're going along in that process there. So that's how I would recommend incorporating the Bioactive A.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Someone's also asking about red light. I wouldn't see why not. I mean, I personally have a red light, and so in the morning I do it before I do my massage, like I do it while I do my face massage. So if I'm using an oil, um, I would just test it out, see if your skin's sensitive. Mine personally can handle it, so if yours gets sensitive when using red light, also it probably depends how long you're using it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say also the type of red light, because for better or worse, there are different qualities of red light out there. Some are way more intense than others. So in theory, yes, this could be okay. But like Rachel's saying, you really want to kind of pay attention to how your skin's feeling. I would say try it. But if it starts to feel like it's too intense or aggravating, maybe that's not a pairing that you do.
Yeah. Another person was asking, speaking of listening to your skin, if you can boost the activated night serum with the Revitalize. Both
Mhm.
Kate and I have done that.
Mhm.
So it's if you want to answer to that one.
Yes, you can. It's more intense. I feel like I feel a little bit drier than normal the next morning if I was just using one or the other. But I really like the feel of it. It's like a very elevated resurfacing treatment for the skin. My skin can handle it though, and I know that about my skin. If I would say if you've never tried either of those before, start with one and definitely feel that out before you jump all the way to boosting the activated night serum with the Revitalize. But you absolutely can if your skin can handle it. I like the combo. So.
I'm just scanning to see any other questions, and then I'd love to do a giveaway of the activated night serum, or maybe two of them.
I see another question here that I
Yeah.
want to get to real quick. Someone has asked, would you recommend not using it the same night as using a scrub, or would that be helpful? This is a really great question, and I think the answer is going to be vague and specific. So yes, you can. I love doing a full routine where I am kind of leading into really resurfacing the skin. And I might go on the more extreme end. I might use the Kaolin micro exfoliant. I might use the resurfacing facial exfoliant, both of them. I'll probably do a mask in between, likely the illuminating pearl mask. But if it's the evening, I might just round that out by using the activated night serum. Now, I haven't tried doing that full routine with a boosted activated night serum. So, I mean, that's kind of user discretion, but yes, it's kind of like if you know your skin and really know when your skin is kind of communicating to you that it's a no or it's hit its point that it's not being that helpful anymore, then you absolutely can use a scrub and then use either the serum or revitalize in the evening. Totally, totally good. Yeah. Okay, giveaway. I'm just going through to see if there are any questions.
Really quick, I want to add, Grace, can you add the link to the consults? I'm
Mm.
messaging with someone right now just around her teen's skin type and which products to use. And I just thought it would be really helpful if everybody knew we do these consultations. Kate and Grace do these consultations, and Emily, our other esthetician, and they really dive into which products are best for you. You fill out a form ahead of time, and it's really helpful just because they can walk you through perfect products for what you're looking for. And I don't even know how long it is, an hour and a half maybe. And they're very tailored, very targeted. So if you want to plug that link in there and then you guys can look to see when those are, that might be helpful.
Yeah, we do have one that'll start in about 20 minutes.
Oh,
So if you have a totally open afternoon and want to hang out with us for another little while, we can plug that link in there as well. But also you can just register and we can see you on another consult.
we see this
Okay.
often that our customers are asking for their kids, their boys or their girls, their teens. This is not the first or second or 10th time. I feel like we get this often. So we've talked about having a call where we can have them join too, like we have everyone. But I'm curious if the kids would even want to join. But yeah.
Might not.
Yeah. Okay, what question do
Um,
we want to ask for the activated night serum giveaway?
I want to hear what serum they're using currently.
Hmm.
Let's see. While people are popping their answers in, I want to answer this question, which is about serums. Can I discuss using the activated night serum and the anti-aging serum? So that one's really straightforward. You would use the activated night serum in the evening. We'll start that from the top. You can use the activated night serum in the evening and the anti-aging serum during the day. So alternating serums, especially with the activated night serum, is absolutely the way to go. They're different. I think that was part of the question too. The anti-aging serum is going to be a lighter formula. That one's utilizing hyaluronic acid, which is a pretty key component of that. So you get this really lovely plumping of the skin. The anti-aging serum, though, is not going to have obviously the activated Bioactive A. There's no retinol alternative in the anti-aging serum. And then a lot of the broader anti-aging ingredients that are in the activated night serum, this black cumin, we've got the tremolo mushroom. Those are only in they're in other products, but they're in the activated night serum and not the anti-aging serum. So hopefully that helps. Okay, I'm scrolling down to catch up now. All right, let's see. Ooh, nice. Sheila's already on it. She's got the activated night serum, activated CBD, boosted with Revitalize. Oh, nice. Diane's ready for the restorative facial cream. Big fan of the facial cream.
I never thought I'd have another product compete with the wild fruit serum, but I think
Mhm.
cream is there. I'm obsessed with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And just like the more I read about the ingredients in it, I'm just like, wow.
it is really solid. I know I've said it before, but before I had the product in my hand and we were like doing kind of launching calls, looking at the ingredient list, I was like, there's no way we put all of that into one product. This is like the dream list, and we're gonna have to cut this down, but we did. We put it in there. Cool. Ooh, CBD on the neck. Awesome. That's genius.
Okay. Okay. Grace, you want to pick a couple winners?
Yes. Do we have one? How many winners do we have? One or two?
Two.
Two. Perfect. Okay. So our first winner, first of all, I love all these answers because I love all the people saying they're using like multiple or like alternating or asking their body which one they want. I'm like, oh,
Oh.
I love that. Okay. Anywho's, our winners are Carla Rise and I hope I pronounce this correctly, but Masuda is also our winner. So I will put those in the chat as well as the form to fill out. But yay, I'm excited for you both.
Congratulations.
That's exciting.
Okay, I'm just reading some more comments here. Oh, great, Dee. That's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
We have
That combo in particular, sorry to talk over you. Dee had shared she's using the rejuvenating facial oil, this facial oil with the cream. And this is the combo I'm doing pretty much every day, these two.
okay. So
Whoops.
my skin's not as dry like in the summer. It's more, I don't say it's oily, but it's just, dewy. And so
Hmm.
I use so phytonutrient, apply dry, really massage it in, then rinse, and then botanical hydration mist, wild fruit serum blended with just the Brighten,
Uh-huh.
pump of Brighten. Apply that, and as it's very, very damp, I'll do 2 pumps of the face cream, and then that's it. And it's
Ooh.
like I'm obsessed.
Love it.
Very nice. I love that we're all very obsessed with skincare. It suits our day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, cool. And just so everyone knows, we have about 10 minutes left. If you're just joining, we've had a couple people join over the past few minutes. We're talking about retinol alternatives, why we suggest our retinol alternative over retinol. We did a couple of giveaways. We do have a code in the chat available, early access to our Earth Day sale that is valid until 12:30 Pacific time. And then we're going to spend these last 10 minutes just answering questions that you all have. And somebody messaged me privately, what do you recommend for crispy skin on the arms or crispy skin on the arms?
Mm. The Radiant Skin Silk. That's always my go-to, especially for crepey skin on the body. Especially doing that in combination with either the Palo Santo body butter or the oil. Probably oil more. I'm speaking for myself as we're getting into a warmer season. But the Radiant Skin Silk, which I don't have, I do have. This is the small one. We also got a big, big one. Great for body, great for the skin on the body.
I also want to suggest dry brushing. We have a body dry brush, which
Mm-hmm.
I always like when I start noticing extraness on my arms and my legs. Okay, let's dive into some more questions. Any questions that anybody has regarding retinol, these 2 retinol alternative products, any of our products, a routine, anything like that, we're happy to answer.
Real quick, someone has just asked what's the face cream. And so I'm not going to spend a ton of time on it because we don't have a ton of time, but the face cream that we're talking about is the one of our newest product, our newest product. This is the most recent one. It's called the Restorative Facial Cream. And as the name suggests, this is a facial cream. So if you've been with us for a while, you know that we traditionally have offered oils as our moisturizing step. This is a cream product, and this is just the most beautiful capture of texture, of anti-aging ingredients. The feel of this on the skin is obviously different than the oils, but immensely lovely. I like mixing mine with my oil. I have drier skin, and so I do a pump of my oil and a pump, or maybe more of a half of a pump of my oil and a pump of the cream. But that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the facial cream. And Grace, maybe you want to link it in case people are
She did.
more curious. Oh, of course, she's so good. Oh, let's see.
Yeah, and Marissa said she was surprised to see a cream. So were we. We fought it for a good 15 years, not having a cream because, at the end of the day, oils are superior in the sense that they offer direct oil and moisturization to your skin. So when we saw these creams and customers constantly are asking for a cream, we were like, no, oils, oils, oils. But we knew that if we did develop one, we needed to do it different, which we did. So instead of using water and a lot of wax and a couple of activated ingredients, we chose to use our serum blend, hyaluronic acid, ceramides, a lot of things that you would find in our serum, plus helichrysum hydrosol is a lot of the base as well, which is very potent and incredible. Just a teeny tiny bit of wax, and by teeny tiny, I think there's maybe 1 point something percent, 1.6%, and then butters, an in-house butter blend, plus oils. So you're getting what you would get with a serum, plus what you would get with an oil, kind of blending both worlds. So we did it different, and I'm happy we did it because it's actually really incredible. We're just reading some of the questions here. If you have more questions that pop up, please put them in the chat. And we had talked about when we did the, we might have, Grace, do you know if the live event for the face cream had gone out yet? We should probably, it has. Okay. Do you know if it's in a blog post or no?
Yep, I can link it.
Thank you so much. It's like our encyclopedia. We did a live event specifically on the face cream. Grace is going to put that link in the chat here. It was really informative and kind of went over all the different ways we would suggest using it. So it really depends on your skin type. Like I was just mentioning, I personally use it. I use a serum with the Brighten ahead of time, and then I'll use the cream. In the winter time, though, I was using a little bit of serum with the cream and an oil. So it just depends on how your skin's feeling. If it's feeling drier, if it's feeling dehydrated, you just have to listen to your skin and blend it accordingly. Okay, great.
Awesome. I'm just trying to type out some answers
Yeah.
that we may not get to, but real quick, someone had asked if they tend to get oily with the oil, will the cream help? And yes, it's not gonna like mattify the skin. This is a big distinction I keep talking about. When it absorbs for me, it just feels like very plump, but a lot flatter than the oil. The oil has that very dewy, natural radiance to it. So the feel is very different. It's not mattifying. And so for somebody who's really, really, truly oily and you're working to control oil, you might still prefer the herbal facial oil for oily skin. But anyone who's working on anti-aging and wants just a little bit of a flatter feel, the cream is really going to be supportive for that.
Yeah. This morning I just put the cream on over the serum, and you can see it's pretty powdery looking. That's all I have on right now. And yeah, I think it's great. It definitely, because sometimes I would blend it with an oil and you still see a little bit of dew, which is great, but I like to just test things out. And I feel like it definitely takes away that dewy look. And if you're not an oil person, or if you want to try something different where you don't have a dewy look, or maybe applying makeup over is always problematic, I think
Mm.
it's a good solution. Okay.
Beautiful.
Questions here. For body products, for crepey body skin, we suggested the Radiant Skin Silk, the coconut body oil, and then you can add in dry brushing with our dry brush if you would like. Anything for graying hair in the works? Not exactly, but we are working on a hair oil for growth and just overall nourishment. So stay tuned for that. We just have a couple of minutes left. So anything that you guys have? Great, Kate's answering in the chat. I was going to start reading questions. Your answers in there. It's great. Amazing. Yeah,
Very cool.
reminder, make sure you use the code before 12:30 Pacific time.
Yes, that's a really good point. So that coupon code, the one that's specific for this group here, does expire.
Mhm.
12:30 Pacific is when that is shut off.
Amazing. Thanks, Grace, for plugging that in again. And then, yes, this replay will be available as soon as we can get it out there to you. We will. And great. Any last burning questions? Plug them in and we'll try to answer them in the next 2 to 3 minutes.
Skin silk once or twice a day. Yes. Whichever, whatever you need. Sometimes I do it twice a day, sometimes just in the evening. You can do either. Ooh, do you mix the skin silk with body oil or layer oil after applying the silk? I layer it. I actually don't know if I've tried mixing it. Have you mixed it?
I haven't, no.
Yeah, I'm curious now, but I typically layer it. I typically do the skin silk first. Well, honest, that's not true. It varies. It kind of depends on what my skin needs. Sometimes I will do the body oil first and the skin silk over. Sometimes I'll do the skin silk and the body oil over. So good options.
I don't see us offering another foundation just because we had it once. I think we're just more of a skincare brand. You know, our customers love our lip and cheek tint. But as far as makeup, I think that's where it will go. But we do recommend other brands that are, you know, a little bit aligned with our values, and we plug them in on our favorite brands page. So if you want to check those out, I think the one that we have on there is All Natural, and it's the specific product from that company. So they have a ton of other products, but and if you go to their site, you may see ingredients that we don't recommend. So go to the one on our site because that is the one that we do recommend.
Beautiful.
Pearl mask. So what can you put directly on a darkening spot? I would say
Mm.
mask, just a quick answer.
Mhm. Yep.
Okay, we're at 11 o'clock. Kate mentioned
Awesome.
we have a consultation coming up. If you want to join it, go ahead and join it. If you want to join one later, go to those links and RSVP. But otherwise, thank you for joining.
Yay.
Thanks, Kate. Thanks, Grace.
Yep. Awesome. Lovely to see everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.